Thank you very much for having me. Well, as at this morning, we are here to get the judgment of the Supreme Court, the complete certified true copy, duly signed judgment from the Supreme Court. But what I can say is that the Supreme Court upheld the decision of the Court of Appeal. So the Court of Appeal judgment we have, and we are well abreast of what the Court of Appeal held in that particular judgment. The judgment is just to the effect that there is provision in the Constitution guaranteeing the practice and the manifestation of the religion of citizens of the country in public or in private. And that section is section 38. And we're able to prove before the courts, the various courts, that there are ample provisions in our religion, the religion of Islam, which mandates the wearing of the hijab for the Muslim women or the female Muslim. And the court agreed with us after looking at the various materials from the Quran and the Sunnah, and even general knowledge that is out there for everybody to see. And the court did agree, upholding an earlier judgment of the Court of Appeal in Bashira Soliu versus Kwara State College of Education, if I'm not mistaken. So, and the court held in favor. The court dismissed, the court upheld our appeal at the Court of Appeal because we lost at the High Court. So in essence, what the judgment says basically is that the Muslim female in secondary and primary schools have the right to wear the hijab on their uniform in consonance with the provision of section 38 of the 1999 Constitution. And any attempt to deny them this right is an infraction of section 42 of the 1999 Constitution, which guarantees freedom from discrimination. So that is the essence of the judgment. There are other talking points in the judgment, but that is the core of the judgment. Let me just quote from the Constitution directly. Also now make a decision, or whoever is listening can also now make this, or can also now reach whatever conclusion they want to reach on what section 38 really provides. So 38 provides that every person shall be entitled to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, including freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom either alone or in community with others, and in public or in private, to manifest, that is show, and propagate his religion or belief in worship, teaching, practice, and observance. So it is clear. That is what section 38(1) says. In community, in private, in public, individually. So it covers the field, and that is what it says. If anybody says anything else, the person is just being emotional. Well, that what they are saying is just they are untruths. So we all know that the common law we practice, the law we practice, even our educational system, were foisted on us. Let me put it that way, through colonialism, by the UK, and we all know that this practices were derived from. There are series of judgments, and there are also articles to that effect, that all these things were the common law we practice were derived from the Christian religion. In Bowman versus Secular State is a popular judgment in the UK. It was a 1917 judgment, if I'm not mistaken. It was clearly stated that the common law was from the Christian religion. And a lot of writers have also opined that the common law were derived from the Judeo-Christian practices. So already, whatever you see today, even in the educational system, is tilted towards that ideology. what the Muslims are asking for is parity, is equity. You understand? So that they can also practice, be allowed. Nobody is saying force hijab on every student of the school. What they are just saying is that if others can use the berets, let our children equally use the hijab. And that is simply what is being said. So when people now say it is because they want to Islamize Nigeria, nobody is Islamizing anybody. First and foremost, the hijab ban in Lagos State was under a Muslim government. This was in, what was it called, 2012, 2013, when Governor Fashola was the governor of Lagos State. He was a Muslim. It was under a Muslim Attorney General, Mr. Adetola-Kazeem. It was under a Muslim Solicitor General, Mr. Lawal Pedro, SAN. In fact, Mr. Lawal Pedro, SAN, argued this matter at the High Court. So what is anybody saying? If it had been about Islamization, then it would have been carried out when we had Muslims at the helm of affairs. But we fought it up to this point. It's just by providence, or it's just by happenstance that the appeal, what was it called? All processes in this appeal has been filed since November. The last process in this matter, which we filed, which was our own brief of argument, was filed on the 20th of November, 2017. This was 5 years ago or 6 years ago. You know, so if anybody says there is a plan to Islamize Nigeria, it's just being emotional or just trying to win an argument by whatever means. It is just a right we are asking from the Muslim young lady to be able to use her hijab to school. And if we are even going to go by history, the unity schools were established, I think, sometimes in 1973, around that. A lot of the unity schools came up in 1973, around that period. Since that time, there was a code that was agreed. Muslims have their dress code. Christians equally have their dress code. Even though over time, a lot of these dress codes were eroded. So you find out that Muslims were changed in many of these unity schools. But as we speak today, some of the schools, even in the West here, the Christians dress in their way, and the Muslims have the option of also dressing in the hijab. There are documents to the effect that shows how the Muslims, and there has been no fight. If you go, as I speak today, if you go to Federal Government Girls College, you will see this in play. You even see statue. The statue had the representation of the Muslim in hijab, and you have the other lady with the berets. So if anybody says Islamization, or if you do, I think it's just being hypocritical. There is no idea or there is no agenda. At least I have been part of this process since the time it started up to the time we got the judgment at the Supreme Court. So it's just about live and let live. Practice your deen, practice your religion, but do not stop me from equally expressing, practicing, and manifesting my religion. And that is the simple thing we are saying. Thank you. Well, generally, anybody is free to attempt to exact their right or seek to enforce it, which was what was done in our own case. So anybody can decide to wear whatever they want to wear, to try to ensure that is also captured, within the system, in whatever lawful means that the person seeks to take. So for that, I don't begrudge whoever wants to take that step. But my only issue is that when you want to do that, there should not be hypothetical cases, and it should not have an hypocritical coloring. In this case, this is somebody who is a known Christian, who has sworn under several affidavits that he is such, who had criticized the judgment of the Supreme Court, who has a lot of cases in the courts against what interest that he feels are, Islamic interest. Generally, anything he feels, he has a series of cases, including the recent case and the recent regulation of the police allowing the female police to wear the hijab, and several other cases which there's a touch of Islam in many of these cases, at least the ones that I know. So for him to now come and suddenly say he's the local priest, I feel that was taking things too far. And you can see now that even that what he seeks to want to achieve, he has stopped even wearing this to court. So that is where I have the issue. But anybody is free to try to exert their rights. And if they are denied, they should actually go further by suing whatever authority and trying to achieve whatever. I think the sky is big enough for anyone to fly. And in other jurisdictions, these things are properly captured. There is a dress code for the bar in the UK, which was recently reviewed in 2022. It has provisions for Muslims, Christians, Jews, and even the Sikh, so they can wear their turban on their gown. And even that, the female Muslim is not even required to even use the wig. They can get it's fine using their hijab and wearing their gown. I think that is where it should be leading to. And in fact, in many of these jurisdictions, they are even doing away with the wig and gown. So we need to really have a rethink on our dress code. So I'm at ease with whoever. I was aware that a lawyer wore the cross to the what's it called, the Catholic, I don't know if they call it rosary or cross. We wore it to court. It's fine. In the UK, this is allowed. You understand? So I think the bar should come up and have an idea of what people can do in respecting people's faith. You understand? But of course, so I think that is it. I do not have any qualms against anyone doing whatever they feel is right. But you do it in a manner that is not geared towards embarrassing, or in a manner that shows that they have this content against the rights of others, which was duly asked and duly given. Yes, I feel we are getting to that point, because human rights is natural. It comes naturally. It's not given. We're only trying to exact what is already there. We're only trying to now bring it to life. So all these people have their rights, and the countries we seek, or we tend to term as sinner crimes, have already gone past all this. In the US today, they have allowed the hijab in the army. In the UK, they allow hijab in their police, and the likes like that. So you can go on and on. In several states of the United States, they allow the hijab and their police uniform. I think this should just come naturally. So of course, I see this. Of course, the police just recently did the regulation in Nigeria. I think what our main problem is the problem of intolerance and suspicion. So I think in a situation where you do not need something, but the other person needs that thing, and you feel threatened by that other person gets what he or she needs, you do not need, and it doesn't affect you in any way. I think that is the way to look at it. For instance, as Muslims too, we know that on Fridays we go to work. Some people have clamored for saying we need holiday on Friday. I would say no. We do not need holiday on Friday, because the Quran says that when the call for the prayer is made, leave your work and go to pray. And after prayer, you can disperse on the heart and go back to work. You understand? So it encourages us to work, leave work, go to prayer, then go back to work. So, but because others have maybe Saturday for those who worship on Saturday and Sunday for those who worship on Sunday, we insist that you have holidays on Friday. So these are the things that we need to understand. So if other people have it, and their evidence is scriptural evidence backing up what they have, why should they fight them for what they have that you do not have? So I think it's just about being able to live with ourselves without seeing ourselves, without competing unnecessarily. I think that is where we should move towards. I think I don't know, it's very deep-seated, and some of these things are actually political. Because of the political space, people tend to say it as we against them. And I think as much as possible, we must stem this down as much as possible. We must not be tempted to always view things from the lenses of suspicion, or the lenses of hatred, or the lenses of competition. I think that we can live together. We have indeed lived together for long, rather than just bring up things that will keep dividing us. My wearing the hijab, dressing the way I am, does not harm you anyway. And you're also wearing the cross or whatever, does not harm me in any way. So, and our government has a lot to do in ensuring that there is this trust across religious settings. And it's also necessary that people do not become unnecessary overdoers. Look at the recent incidents of killing in the north, in the east, against people of different faiths, of different, different tribal backgrounds. I think all these things has to do with that, that distrust, that hatred, and we need to really work on it. And this has also crept in into the hijab judgment that was recently gotten. So we need a national reorientation on the need for us to live in peace and not be unnecessarily suspicious of one another. So I would urge everyone to say the hijab doesn't harm you. So, and then there is no need showing opposition or anything against it. But you have all the right to equally exact what you feel is necessary. Not because those who want the hijab got it, but let your asking be genuine. And I think that anyway, I recall when a period in time when somebody of the deeper life faith was sent away from the camp because she insisted she wasn't going to wear short. I said then, I posted on my social media page that if I can actually volunteer to represent that person pro bono to exert her right, because I believe it's a right that should be given to her. And I think that is the way we should think. When we got the hijab, a colleague of mine mentioned that he had seen when we got the judgment or when Firdaus Amosa's issue was finally decided by the body of benchers. I was told that after then, a colleague of mine met a Catholic nun, a Catholic sister in court, who used something under the wig in a neat manner, and there was no opposition to this. You understand? She was able to practice it, to do that without any hairs, without any shout. And that is what we should do. That is where we should get to. But let it not be us doing this or pushing such argument because of the hatred we have for a particular faith or a particular despot. There is no bigger problem. Our laws must be accommodating. Some of these laws were made in 1960, 1940, 1950, when people were in the dark ages. Now the world is wide. We have our constitution is the ground law, is the foundation for every other laws, and every other laws must conform. You can't tell people who work in very decent manner, you can't tell them to expose their ties because they want to do service. When we talk about moral decadence and people are trying to cover themselves and yet we are opposing them, does that even make any sense? When we talk about morality and people are trying to ensure that they work within the moral confines, you can't be saying walking, new dressing is bad, and at the same time opposing somebody of the deeper life faith who wants to cover a tie, or a Muslim who wants to use the hijab, or somebody of other faith who wants to be properly more covered. I think we should stop this hypocrisy, and we need to move away from those dark ages. People are beginning to see there is more talk about inclusion and diversity. We are diverse. We cannot be monolithic. We cannot be one entity. It's not possible. All of us cannot look the same way. We can't dress the same way. And we always say that there is unity in our diversity. So why not we now prove it by ensuring that our law conforms with that particular mantra? So I think that there's a need for us, there's a need to rethink and redo some of our laws to ensure law is not static, law is moving. And now people are more conscious about their faith, they are conscious about the way they want to appear. I know a lot of people that did not go to law school just because then they were going to tell them to remove their, for dinners. I know what we had to do to ensure that the ladies in my set at the law school were allowed just to use a cap for the dinner. So all these things are, people have been denied education, people have been denied jobs, opportunity, because of these barriers. So we need to remove barriers to allow people of faith who want to practice their religion and who want to preserve their modesty to be able to do so. And I think that this is where the government needs to do more, and where we all need to accept others, way of life, so that we can live in unity and harmony and we can move this country forward.